And yeah, listen to that delectable sound coming in through your speakers or your headphones or wherever you're listening to this wonderful broadcast from. It's Gene.
And Steph.
And we're back, guys. Season 3.
Third season.
Third season. We're really doing this, right?
Stuck with it.
So far.
Proud of you, my boy.
Yeah. Proud of you as well. Oh yeah, so we're back for another one. And Steph, what are we giving the fine folk for this season?
Action movies.
Nothing but action. That's right. NBA.
Yes.
NBA young people. That's what we are. And we're back to give you some. I know you guys missed us, but you know, hey.
Yeah. Life be life.
Yeah, better late than never. We're here. Yeah. Stop complaining. You didn't pay for this. But if you did want to send us some money, I'll leave a link below. But in this special, sorry, Steph, did you have anything that you would like to discuss with the people before we get started, or should we just jump straight into this thing?
No, excited to be back.
To all this action. You excited to be back?
Yeah, it's always a good time.
Oh, that's sweet. For this first episode of season 3, the Nuthin But Action season, we're bringing you Lethal Weapon, a personal favorite of mine. Steph, any memories of 1987's Lethal Weapon?
No, I wasn't here yet, so I saw it, I guess, probably sometime before I was 12.
Oh.
TBS and things like that. Y'all know we always bring up these channels, but they did have the action movies. USA, TNT.
They had the action, but now the action resides here at the Let's View It Again studios for Nuthin But Action.
Yes. I will say I didn't remember everything about it. It was kind of like bits and pieces. It's not a movie that I saw, intently just looked at a lot, but
got you. I did. I think my father just had action movies on all the time, and this was one.
Mm-hmm.
And some of the stuff we did last season, and I guess this is kind of a carryover. This is a good segue, I guess, if you will. It's an 80s movie as well. We're coming out of the 80s, but we're going to do action. All these won't be 80s movies, though I do love 1980s action. But original point, I remember it just being on a lot. In our household,
it's very popular.
We are a very pro-black household, so if any black person that's starring in a movie, we are going to watch it. At least we did anyway. Now, I mean, I can control the remote in my own home, so But coming up as a young Gene,
much choice.
So if a black person was in it, it was playing. So Danny Glover's in this one. I'm not going to try to steal your thunder because you're doing the stars of the movie. But if anyone who's listening has not seen 1987's Lethal Weapon or unaware of the stars of the movie, Danny Glover's in the movie. But
yes, he
is. If we don't have anything further, I won't be talking Timmy this season. Now I'll let you get straight into it, Steph. Give the people a rundown of 1987's Lethal Weapon.
Yeah, I got a short summary. So basically we have two newly paired cops who are complete opposites who must put aside their differences in order to catch a gang of drug smugglers or dealers, whatever. But
they're just doing the smuggling.
Smugglers
is
more it's more to the point. And that's from IMDb.
There we go. We're back this season, baby.
And our stars, I just looked up information about the main two.
Why not? I mean, they have the most of the screen time.
They do. We have Mel Gibson, and he plays Martin Riggs. He's from New York. I didn't know he was raised in Australia. I think you brought it up while we were watching it because why would I? But I don't think I've ever just listened to him in an interview. I've only known Mel Gibson to be, on the screen in a movie or whatever. I don't think I've ever heard
making racial slurs.
Okay. He does.
He is known for that.
He did have a lot of controversies apparently, but he's an actor, director, producer. Breakout role was in Mad Max. Have you seen the old one?
I have. Once again, we were a very pro-black household. So I saw Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome because it had a small cameo appearance from Tina Turner. So,
oh, yeah. Okay. I've seen that cameo, like that still. Yeah.
So we watched that as well as a young boy. Anything with a black person in it,
give it a try.
You don't even have to ask. I've seen it. If it was before I was out of the home, I was still in a baby bird in the nest. Anything pre-2000s.
Other, I guess you say notable roles are The Man Without a Face,
Never heard
Braveheart. I remember that was big when it came out. Passion of the Christ, that was a huge one. Apparently, he's making, he's coming back with a Passion of the Christ 2. He's making a comeback, if I saw correctly.
That's what they say.
2000.
That's what they say, baby.
And
amen.
I think it said they started filming. They started filming in January 2024. So I guess those controversies.
It didn't. Well, he was making disparaging remarks about Jewish people, so I guess this tracks. He's going to keep it going. I don't really know. Mel Gibson is a weird matter. Speaking of which, that was one of the sore points for me for watching Continental, because it's like, why we have Mel Gibson here? Isn't he shunned?
And for those who don't know, Continental.
Oh, it's a prequel, I guess, of sorts to the John Wick franchise. And it's on Peacock. If you have Peacock, if you are a Comcast subscriber, they'll give it to you for free because nobody's subscribing to NBC, an NBC app. I've said this many, many times on many episodes. I'm sure NBC is going to try to silence my podcast, but you'll never get me. Go ahead, Steph.
All right. And we also have Danny Glover, not to be confused with Donald Glover.
Not to be, as another sidebar, Steph has a real problem with calling out the correct Glover when she's mentioned something. She's like, what about that song, that one that Danny Glover sang? And,
sound like an old lady.
And I'm like, I don't think Danny Glover has any music out. He could. I don't know. You're going to tell me some facts about Danny Glover.
I don't know that. But
I don't
apparently
think there's any relation.
He has a theater background, so who knows? He may be able to sing. But Danny Glover plays Roger Murtaugh. He is an actor, producer. Like I said, he has a theater background. 1984, he had an Oscar-nominated Best Picture for, he had a role in that movie for Places in the Heart. And the next year, he came with The Color Purple. So, he kind of was really doing his thing in the 80s, apparently, in some big movies that were really successful. And he's also apparently, or was, a Goodwill ambassador for the UN, so an activist in his own right. So that's a little bit about Mr. Danny Glover.
Daniel Glover. Oh, yeah. Only thing I knew him before this was obviously The Color Purple. This is a departure.
And you see Mr. in some places in the movie.
And when did you have his info? When was Danny Glover born? He's always been old, year. As far as since I've been alive.
I mean, I guess.
Has anybody ever seen a younger photo of Danny Glover? I don't think it exists.
I don't
Danny
know.
Glover came out 50. Look.
No, sir. Let me see.
No, we can move on.
Nope. Danny Glover.
Okay.
He's 77. He was born in 46.
Yeah, that's a surprise to me.
If you would have told me he was
92, I would have still believed it.
He was, very much grown when you were born. So
true.
No way.
I think he's the same age as my granny. Isn't that something? A little younger, huh?
A little younger.
Yeah. More about Lethal Weapon. I'm all off the rails already.
Got us some facts.
It was released in March of 1987, earning $7 million of its $15 million budget in the opening weekend. It went on to make $120 million at the box office. It was written by Shane Black, who went on to direct the sequel. Hold on, I take that back. He didn't direct the sequel. He wrote the sequel, as well as 1993's Last Action Hero, which we're probably going to review on this podcast because I like that movie. But he also directed that. He directed Last Action Hero, and he did 2016's Nice Guys. He also directed that one. The directing duties for this film fell to Richard Donner. Donner, who he passed away in 2021 at 91, was best known prior to the Lethal Weapon franchise for 1978's Superman. He also directed The Omen, The Goonies, The Toy, and all of the Lethal Weapon films. So he has quite the background. I like a bunch of those as well. The Toy. Have you ever seen The Toy?
I don't think so. Who's in that one?
Richard Pryor. He is a young white boy's toy.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen it, but
Slavery by Another Name, if you will.
Okay.
Some 1987 facts. The Simpsons premiered on the Tracy Ullman Show for the first time. That was the year that Baby Jessica fell into the well and had America captivated for a weekend. And also, that was the year that Reagan took full responsibility for Iran-Contra affair. In 1987, marking the last time that a president lied to the American people. We've all moved past that. Thank you, Reagan, for all that you did. Absolutely. That is a lie. If anybody didn't pick up on the sarcasm, they lie all the time, and he sent hundreds and thousands of black men to jail because he and the CIA invented crack and dropped it into the black community. This is not a conspiracy. This is true.
And that brings us to Lethal Weapon.
Steph, before you jump into it, I know you only saw it as a 12-year-old, as you said. Did you remember that it had a number of saxophone solos sprinkled throughout this movie?
I don't think I remember that, but it was apparent upon rewatch.
Yes,
it was very noticeable.
Listeners and viewers, take a second and just make an educated guess about how many saxophone solos you think. Oh, the saxophone was played by David Sanborn. If anybody's a smooth jazz fan.
So did they take like from his album?
No, he sat down and did this. He has a Lethal Weapon sheet music book now. How many do you think, listeners and viewers? Then we'll get Steph's answer, which is going to be incorrect because nobody knows. Nobody could guess it. I'm going to pause it here. What was your guess, people? Huh? Was it 3? That's too little. Was it 12? It's too many. It was 7.
I would have been close.
Where was your number? Oh, 6. I didn't even ask you, huh?
I was waiting on it. He forgot about me.
Steph, what is your guess?
I was wrong, though. So I thought
there
6.
were 7 saxophone solos, and I'm going to interrupt, as per usual, and let you guys know when the sax solos show up. Also, other thing I did know about this movie that I just always remembered, obviously, is Danny Glover telling us that he's too old for this shift.
Yes, he reminds us.
So there was more of those than saxophone solos, probably. Steph, go ahead. I apologize for carrying on.
Lethal Weapon, we opened up and just like all the other movies we seem to look at from the 80s, it's Christmas time. It's always mayhem.
Mayhem around Christmas.
Around Christmas time, whatever that's about. So it opens up and we see this young lady in what looks like, maybe a high-rise apartment, we'll say. She's by herself. She's doing drugs. We see her take a line. And she jumps from the balcony.
Okay, that she does.
I mean, that's how it opens. she jumps from the balcony. So, drugs are involved and they continue to be involved. Then we are introduced to Danny Glover's character, Roger Murtaugh. It's his 50th birthday. You spoke about his age, so
he's getting too old for the shift.
I don't know if he was 50 in real life at the time. Well,
what you said, 77?
46, and this was
87.
So he wasn't quite 50 yet.
He played a 50-year-old,
but he played
surprisingly
a 50-year-old.
well. First interruption. Sexy saxophone solo happens right here when we meet Nathaniel Glover, aka Murtaugh. What's his first name? Roger?
Yes.
He's Roger, and the other one is Martin.
Yes.
Everybody just knows Riggs and Murtaugh. But we meet Murtaugh with a sexy saxophone solo.
Big 5-0. You know what? Your beard's getting gray. Kind of makes you look old. But I mean, that's all right, though, because I still love you. Bye, Pop.
Yeah, so it's his 50th birthday. We meet him in the tub, and his family comes in.
Hence the need for sexy music. He's in the tub.
No, absolutely not. Surprises him with the birthday cake. So, of course, can't believe he's 50, whatever. So we get this picture. He's the family man. The buddy cop contrast we always see in a movie. The formula, you have the family man, kind of like what's the Will Smith, Martin Lawrence? Bad Boys. You have the family man. Then we get Mel Gibson. He's home with a dog. He's disheveled. His butt is out for some reason. It's like, okay, if it's your first time, it's like, okay, what's this about? There's no family. There's no family in sight. So you get that contrast from the beginning, the family man, and then, this man is, flying solo. We learn later. I can't remember. Is it at this point or later?
The saxophone solo 2 happens. You kind of skipped it. It's when we're still at Murtaugh's house. His daughter's about to go on a date. And she comes downstairs to show him the dress that she's going to wear. And for whatever reason, we have sex solo there. It's not important, but the people probably wanted to know.
Goddamn heartbreak.
Gotcha.
What were you about to ask me?
But Riggs, I can't remember if it's at this point, but we find out apparently he's a widower.
Correct.
So,
Which, for those who may not know what that is, his wife is dead.
All right, I think our listeners know that.
I'm not going to put it past him. There's nothing. The education system in this country is, in despair. So who knows?
All right. Well, they have a phone, so they could look it up.
Look it up. A widower.
But we get back to that crime scene where that young lady jumped. Murtaugh apparently knows her family. I say lady, but she appears to be an adult. I mean, she has drugs. I know that doesn't mean much, but apparently she's an adult, but young. Yes.
That was sexy saxophone solo number 3.
Okay,
when
thank
they arrive at the crime scene or the suicide scene. David Sanborn is playing the saxophone. Go ahead.
Yeah, so apparently, like I said, Murtaugh knows this lady's family. So, he has an attachment to this case, apparently, which is like, should you really be involved in it? But whatever.
Of course, he's the closest to it. But I guess that's where they falter. You're too close to see it, huh? Will they come back to bite him?
Then, and now I think about it, we go to Riggs. The next scene, they kind of go back and forth with the scenes. He's apparently involved in this undercover drug deal where he almost gets killed. At this point, he acts like he's really disturbed. They try to start that, I guess, painting his character as, disturbed. That's the
a loose cannon,
a
live wire.
Yes, that's a good description. So yes, he does the roll with the gun or whatever. You said y'all used to do that.
Oh, did you want me to tell the story?
I just remember.
Well, like we emulated everything we saw on television, which is why we probably shouldn't let kids watch action movies with men. But look, so when Riggs is rolling on the ground shooting his pistol, I used to emulate that when we played. I guess I don't know. It wasn't like cowboys and Indians or whatever. And I don't mean any offense. Cowboys and Native Americans.
But that's what a lot of people used to call.
When we played shoot 'em up, bang bang, I would roll on the ground, but the gun I had was the duck hunt gun from the Nintendo, and
So you used to do the Riggs roll.
I did, and I would yell "ah!" while playing with my duck hunt gun.
I wish we could have a demonstration.
I would never. But still found that hilarious. So,
right. Well, you pick it up here anyway. So that was a good introduction.
Well, after this is after his shootout. Okay, yeah. So
yeah, he has a shootout.
And they have been. They started to tease that he has a psychotic personality, but now we're back at his house. He lives in like a mobile home shanty town of sorts. So once again, the contrast, because Murtaugh has a nice 2-story house and with like a bunch of accoutrements scattered about, and Riggs just lives in filth and he's disheveled all the time. So they showing that contrast. But we're here So I'm just painting the picture. That's where we at. We're in a mobile home, and a man is looking at a picture of his dead wife, and he's playing with a gun. This is once again letting you know that this man not only shouldn't be a police officer, but he probably should just be, in somebody's care. We'll leave it there.
Getting
but
some
they're
type
really
of
driving home the point that he's
not
that
stable.
he's disturbed.
Yeah.
Not that he is not stable. But if that isn't convincing enough, the very next scene finds us back at the police station, and a therapist is talking. We find out she's the police, I guess the police issued therapist. I don't know how it works in police stations. And she's saying exactly what I'm saying, that Riggs is a danger to himself and his fellow officers. He shouldn't be anywhere on the force. And the captain says, "Hogwash, you are a delirious lady. Riggs is only putting on he's not crazy. And if he bites a bullet," I think that's what he says, "it does me a favor." So he's essentially saying if he does kill himself while on the job, hey, he's out of everyone's hair once and for all. So, yeah.
Everybody crazy.
Riggs is disturbed and nobody cares, which is probably a deeper point of this film.
They do that, which, I mean, like you said, is it art imitating reality or reflecting reality, whatever?
Don't get me started, sister. I know we're going to end up there, but don't get me started so soon with this propaganda. But nonetheless, we're still at the precinct, and we're panning over to Murtaugh's office. He's not a captain. I guess he's a sergeant. So he has an office with a door on it. It's nice. But he's getting info from another detective about the jumper. And he says that it's not a suicide. It's a moita. Somebody slipped
What was that?
What?
What was that? Murder.
Moita.
Okay.
So someone has tampered with her drugs, and so it really wouldn't matter if she jumped or not. She had bad dope. So whatever. It's not a suicide. So he's getting the lowdown about this, and this dude is feeding him all this information. He said, "Oh yeah, by the way, you're getting a partner. A bit of a loose cannon, whatever. He's a war vet, but he's a real live wire." And funny enough, we go back and we see said live wire sitting in the precinct on a desk, looking not like a police officer. Stop here. Me and Steph have already noticed in a bunch of movies that your stars, obviously, but any police officer that's going to be doing horrible police work is not going to be wearing a uniform.
They can't be seen.
Bad boys, they never put a police uniform on, and they do the most horrible police work imaginable. But so neither one of these guys have police uniforms on. Riggs is sitting on a table, and he pulls out his pistol. Murtaugh doesn't know that Riggs does this from time to time. He plays with a gun. He don't know that because he just met him. He tackles him to the ground, or attempts to tackle him to the ground, but Riggs, being a young, spry live wire, subdues Danny Glover, and then they say, "Hey, nice to meet your partner here." They probably do some one-liner that I don't remember, but that's how they meet each other, and this is when Danny Glover first tells us that he's too old for this shift.
Yes.
They take a little walk, talking about their first mission, which is to go, I guess they're going to talk to the guys, the dead lady's father, whatever. They're going somewhere. I'm not sure. I can't even remember the plot. But they're leaving out, and that's when they're talking. He's like, Murtaugh was talking to Riggs and saying, "Oh, you were a war vet. Tai Chi. You are a real lethal weapon." He says the name 23 minutes in.
Do we get a saxophone right there?
We do not get a saxophone.
They should have put a saxophone right there.
Not quite.
They
you
missed
jumping
it
the
right
gun,
there.
Steph. You jumping the gun.
They missed it.
Why would they play a saxophone there?
He said the name. This is when they were riding or something?
No, they were walking in the garage, like below the precinct. This is after Danny Glover got up, because Riggs had tackled him to the ground, and he was looking all
as
crazy.
much as they did put, the saxophone in there.
It could have
one
been
more time.
one more would have been eight's a charm. But nonetheless, the whole thing is meant to show us that Danny Glover does not want a partner, and if he did want one, he doesn't want the crazy man.
Riggs.
I mean, his concerns are valid. If you ask me.
I wonder how many police officers are ex-military, which I mean I know a lot of them do.
Bring up a
Like
great point.
they come home and then that's the field they'll go into. But I just wonder what the numbers are.
You make a great point, and I guess you about to jump in with your section, but this movie, and when I say he's a war vet, he's a Vietnam vet, which is interesting to me. The parallels between now, the Vietnam War lasted 20 years. The war on terror, or whatever they called it, lasted 20 years, officially, whatever. And just like you were saying, more to your point, that a lot of those guys came home unwell and just went straight into police work. It's played up for laughs in this movie, but it's like, this is a real thing happening then and more so now. And as much as people don't, or I say people, there's a certain sect of people don't believe that any police officer ever did anything wrong, but they show us these things in these movies, like I said, the bad police work, the brutality and all that, and it's hard for people to believe it because it's like, oh, it's on screen, which is, that's what propaganda does. It breaks down that thing we would have up to like, let me question this, but it's like, oh, but it's Danny Glover and old Mel Gibson. They can do a little police brutality here and there. Why not? Oh, he's crazy and he has pistols out and stuff. Ha ha ha. But this happens in real life. But it's so watered down now in our minds, the minds of the public, some of the public anyway. That when it does happen in real life, it's like they can't fathom it. And it's like, well, they've been showing us for 30, 40 years what they do. It's not pulled out of thin air. But anyway,
and I always say, like,
throw away my soapbox, and you can get into
no, but more to that is like, they're pulling these stories from somewhere,
right.
So the veteran to police officer pipeline, I guess you could say, it's strong, right? It's very long, and so they, like you said, maybe that's part of propaganda. It is, you pull these stories from real things, but like you said, it's presented as kind of a comedy, so you kind of like,
Which is not to say that the movie isn't good. I watched it and I enjoyed this rewatch.
But we talked about it with Bad Boys.
Like,
you look at it now, like I said, view it again with adult eyes. It was like, they were really doing some stuff outside of policy.
Horrible police work.
Or when the I guess their chief or whatever was like, do what you got to do, and it's
just
like,
do what you do.
They did, but it's comedy, and
and I don't think
they're in regular clothes.
You put those regular clothes on, you can just do whatever you want. But do they do that? I mean, do they go that far in this movie? I don't think so. In Lethal Weapon, it is. As far as like, I'll just do what you do, operating beyond Riggs and his,
Yeah, I don't remember them like beating anybody. I remember, I'll get to, they talk to kids by themselves. There was no adults, and these were little kids. Like, there was no confusion about their age. But we'll keep going. We'll get to it. Go so ahead. We meet the general.
Hold on.
Were you finished?
When you say the general, are you talking about insurance? The guy who works with Shaq?
No, this is apparently ex-military also, and he is trying to coordinate a heroin deal. We meet
heroin.
Okay, then you meet also ex-military, a Mr. Joshua, who is kind of like Riggs with the way that he acts. Clearly, he's disturbed. You okay?
I'm fine, thank you.
Okay, and Murtaugh. Him knowing this family.
Did you bring up Mr. Joshua in your stars?
I didn't.
It's Gary Busey, everybody. Oh. He's just as insane as you remember him.
I only did Mel Gibson and Danny Glover. So Murtaugh finds out that, we find out her name, Amanda. That's the young lady who jumped, was poisoned. Her dad wants the killers killed. Apparently he knows or has some inkling about what may have led to it. Then we're back to Riggs. There's a man on the roof somewhere in the community that's about to jump.
And it has nothing to do with the story, but we just got to keep showing that Riggs is insane.
Yeah. I don't know what it is about jumping. This is the second scene where somebody jumps. I guess they just want to stick with that.
Maybe a lot of people were jumping off stuff in the 80s. I can't remember all of it. So, I mean, I was a child. I was jumping off stuff, but not to harm myself.
No.
But just for general fun.
Right. So Riggs, being Riggs, he handcuffs himself to the man, and they jump together. You know, they have the little, I guess, inflatable landing or whatever. So nobody's hurt. Of course, Murtaugh is upset because it's like, why are you doing that? I don't even know why they were there. Because they're homicide.
They are homicide detectives. Riggs says this when he goes talk. No, well, I'm just saying he goes to the, I guess, the hostage, not the hostage, what do you call it? Suicide guy, the negotiator, whatever, the communicating guy. He says, I'm Riggs for homicide. And he should say, well, you could just leave because nobody's dead, so why are you here? That's like, you know, like the dude who works the fries is like, I'm just going to do the rest of today because I feel like I'm pretty good at that. You don't get to just choose your job, man. You are a homicide. Go do homicide stuff. But go ahead.
Yeah, so Murtaugh's upset. And I don't remember if he was upset because he handcuffed himself to him, or he was like, we shouldn't have even been here anyway.
I think that's
why
he was
I want to say
upset.
Murtaugh was driving. I forgot how they got there. But anyway, but he was upset. Danny Glover's character, Murtaugh, is upset. Riggs reveals that he is, you know, suicidal. And Murtaugh, for whatever reason, dares Riggs to pull the trigger. You know, Riggs has it pointed towards himself. This is a very dysfunctional relationship.
Very.
When your partner is daring you to
kill yourself, commit suicide,
or
harm yourself in any way, I guess.
Yeah. Encouraging you to die by suicide is
yes. If that's the correct terminology, wasn't attempting to be abrasive.
Yes, but it's so, I guess they don't really, it's just part of the character. They make such an attempt, or various attempts, to just make it known like something's wrong with him, but they don't really
delve any deeper.
No, it's just part of his character.
He never talks to anybody.
No, it's like, okay, just so y'all know,
he's wild.
He's suicidal. He's having suicidal ideation. So don't be surprised when he does. You know, that's the way they just keep. It's like the saxophone. They keep reminding you that Riggs has some issues.
Hey, okay, no bullshit. You want to kill yourself? Oh, for Christ! Shut up! Yes or no? You want to die? Yes or no? I got the job done. What the hell do you want? Didn't answer the question. Oh, what do you want to hear, man? Do you want to hear that sometimes I think about eating a bullet? Huh? Well, I do. I do. I even got a special one for the occasion with a hollow point. Look, make sure it blows the back of my goddamn head out. Do the job right.
After the little jumping incident, the jumping off the building, that's where Murtaugh is starting to get weary with the whole partner arrangement. He's like, once again, he's too old for this shift. But he reaches out to the therapist yet again and calls the therapist on the largest cell phone that you can imagine. It's not even a cell phone. It's a cell phone box. Like, it's the contraption that they use to call helicopters in Vietnam. That thing. Like, if you ever watch MASH or something, that's what he's talking to the therapist on. Why? I don't know. I guess at that moment, he's like, I have to talk to this lady. He's not making Riggs talk to her, but I'm going to call and tell her that something's wrong with this guy. And she says, yeah, I know. I talked to the captain earlier. But nobody's doing anything. Nonetheless, the therapist does reaffirm that, yes, he's a danger to himself and his fellow officers. And then Murtaugh says, man, I'm too old for this shift. And we just go away.
He's old and Riggs needs help.
Yes, but they then head to the home of Amanda. Did you say her last name? Hunsaker?
Not yet, but it was okay. Amanda.
Yeah. She's her last name is Hunsaker. They're the Hunsakers, but Amanda Hunsaker, the young lady who they're trying to find what happened to her. Danny Glover has the idea that we should go talk to her sugar daddy / pimp. They're gonna go over to his abode. I don't know. They pulled a number from somewhere. I don't know. But when they're put into the Hun Sackers, into her pimp's house, we get Sexy Sex solo number 4, obviously, when we go in here. They don't make it far into this whole investigation. Riggs sees 2 young ladies putting powder into a bag. I'm guessing he's assuming it's drugs, which whatever, now he says, oh, now, I guess we could do what we want because what do you call it? Due process. We don't have to worry about that. We have, what do you call it? We have just cause because now we can wander around his property because I peered in through the window and saw 2 young ladies bagging dope. Or it could have been baby powder. It could have been any number of things, but Martin Riggs is going to go investigate. But they are interrupted because they're getting shot at. And I'm going to tell you why they get shot at. Steph, Danny Glover is a large black man. He looks at the young lady's bag in a Coke or whatever it is, moves his jacket to the side because he's not in a police uniform.
Of course.
He moves his sport coat to the side and shows them his pistol. Not a badge, not a piece of paper saying, I'm the police, nothing. And they freak out and run away. And then the pimp guy starts shooting at them. Rational, because a man, 2 men with pistols are outside. I'm selling drugs. I'm already scared. At least I would be. And I'm going to shoot at him. Nonetheless, Murtaugh shoots the guy in the leg because he's the, they try to play it up that Riggs is the live wire who just shoots to kill. Murtaugh just wounds him. And the guy still has a pistol on his person. He tries to kill Murtaugh, but Riggs ends that, saving his life. So now they're he's indebted to Riggs. And what better way to show you that, hey, you're my friend and I'm going to invite you to my house and we're going to have a little dinner. And then he takes him to his house and they have dinner. And then Murtaugh's black family beatboxes for Mel Gibson over dinner. Once again, this has nothing. Mind you, these guys have known each other for probably 12 hours. Max, maybe. I don't know. 36 if we push it out. So, but they are happy, they're laughing, they're drinking beers and stuff together. Whatever. They go outside and Murtaugh is working on his boat and drinking a beer and Riggs is talking to him about the case. Murtaugh says that the case is wrapped up now, that they killed the pimp, everything's done. Riggs say, it's just a little too neat. Something's going on. And he's correct. He's right. And then Murtaugh wraps up the evening after Riggs leaves by watching a video of young ladies shower themselves. This is where we get Sexy Sex solo number, what's this? 5? Yes, this is number 5. The video was sent to him as evidence, I'm assuming. It's Amanda Hunsaker, and why we don't get an explanation as to why this is important. But that's how he wraps up his evening.
Yeah, so they continue to warm up to each other. They go to the gun range, what better way to warm up, I guess, if you're police officers.
Shoot some stuff.
Right. Then, excuse me, the next scene, there's apparently a house that has blown up and Murtaugh and Riggs go to visit. I don't know if they had any body that died, for them to be there.
Yes, actually this time they did.
They did.
It was one of the Amanda Hunsaker's, the young lady's friends or something like that. One of her fellow prostitutes.
Murtaugh tries to talk to the children. You talk about inappropriate things. These are clearly these are elementary age kids. They're small kids. They're reluctant. I think one of them said something like, don't talk, he'll arrest you, put you in jail,
Smart
take
kids.
You away from your mom or something like that.
Here's the little fella that saw the guy.
Hi, my name is Detective Murtaugh. What's yours?
Don't tell him your name. Don't tell me your name, was gonna put you in jail. And you won't see your mom.
No. It's all right. I'm not gonna put you in jail. Come on. What's your name?
No. Don't tell me your name, Alfred.
You know, I guess they're trying to bait, trying to get them to say what they saw.
Yeah.
And eventually they see.
They're interrogating witnesses without
yes.
any parents present.
Right. I don't think that's within policy, but I'm not a cop.
You ain't no cop, Jay Reed.
You ain't no cop. That's another good one.
Are we going to review that?
We might, because I like that one. But anyway, that's In Too Deep, if any of you are unaware of that reference. But they see Riggs' tattoo. The kids see it. It's a Special Forces tattoo, apparently. And the kids tell him that, the man that they saw had that same tattoo. So, Riggs is like, well, that's Special Forces, so this is playing into, his thoughts that there was more going on anyway.
Yeah, Riggs. I mean, he may be crazy, but he's a good police officer, man. He's a good detective.
And apparently Amanda's father is involved in the military, and, Murtaugh believes that her death had something to do with something that the father was involved in, which, I mean.
It's usually the case.
Yes, it comes back to bite you when you are breaking the law. Sometimes. So apparently there was a CIA front. Back to Reagan from the beginning, if you were here from the beginning. But there was a front, there was a company that they used as a front to bring in heroin after the war. Apparently 2 times a year. So I'm guessing, this was really strong or a really big shipment, but it was only 2 times a year. I say only, but you think about smuggling, you think about continuous, right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know the growing schedule of opium.
I don't know. But it was 2 times a year. And Amanda's father, while having this conversation with Murtaugh, is killed by a sniper.
Explain how exactly.
What you mean?
He's killed by a sniper.
You mean him standing in front of the window?
Yes.
The sniper is in the helicopter, right?
He is in a helicopter.
Yes.
Who sent Gary Busey in a helicopter to do a covert mission? Like, you're not being secretive at that point, because
definitely
helicopters
can hear you coming.
You definitely known that something's arrived, because I didn't order a helicopter. Why is there a helicopter outside my window?
Right.
And
I don't know why the father would even be
standing in front of a window.
Well, it's just like, what you've been doing.
He's out his mind, because he's drinking many cases of eggnog at this time as well. I just thought I should mention that. Out the carton. Who does that? It is Christmas time.
It's Christmas time, but it seems like he's well off. He could have just
left,
possibly found somewhere else to stay for a while. Not in this mansion and sit in front of a room that's full of windows.
Who thinks a helicopter's gonna come get you?
Who doesn't think about the fact that they have been, in some shady
nefarious
stuff. Yes, nefarious. There you go. And at any point, these people will turn on you, But whatever. So, unfortunately, he's killed also. So, their family has suffered another loss.
True.
Yes.
But Riggs and Murtaugh make it out. Riggs shoots at the helicopter. I'm going to throw that out there. He has a regular handgun, and he shoots at the helicopter.
Whatever.
Hey, he was going to get his man. But they leave there, and now I can't quite remember what they're doing, but they're like canvassing the area or something. They're walking downtown. Let's just say they're making their way downtown. Let's say that. And at this time, the assassin shows back up. Gary Busey comes back around doing a drive-by, hanging out of Caprice like some rapper or something, and he shoots Riggs through a window and drives off. So it was a drive-by. But luckily for my Nick, he was wearing bulletproof vests. And he comes up and says, they got me or something. I don't know. But Murtaugh, he's shaking. I don't know. He thought he lost his brand new partner.
Yes, they're
but
buddies.
They're all fine. And they're discussing it and saying, hey, don't call it in. Let them think I'm dead. because that guy that just hung out that Caprice is the same guy that shot that man early out the helicopter. He's getting around. He's in a a vast array of vehicles.
He likes to hang
helicopter.
out.
He's hanging out shooting
Stuff and shooting.
So
Special forces.
They're going to do this. They're going to hatch a plan where they can catch the guys as long as they think Riggs is dead. He can sneak around and do some detective work or whatever. But they never get to finish their plan.
Flesh out the plan.
They don't, because they get a call over the radio that a body has turned up in the ocean. They're homicide, obviously.
Finally.
They're finally. Well, this is the second murder.
The second one.
Well, Murtaugh went to the young lady who jumped. It was a suicide slash murder.
He did.
So Murtaugh's been doing work the whole movie. But they get a call that a body's in the ocean. And then they give the description, and they say it's a blonde, blue-eyed male. And this immediately triggers something in Murtaugh, like, my daughter's dating a blonde, blue-eyed man. And it's so weird that you would go straight to that. Like, this is Los Angeles. I don't know the demographics, but it shouldn't be something odd that a blonde, blue-eyed man was found. Like, if he was in Jackson, Mississippi, and that happened, he'd be like, "Oh, I know him," because there's probably not a lot of blonde people there. The blackest city in the United States, though. That's why I said that.
I got you. I'm following.
You got me. Okay. But he says he thinks it's the guy that his daughter's dating. Once again, doesn't make sense. They scoot on over to his house to see if his daughter's there. Guess what? She's not. She's been taken by some kidnappers. His kid has been napped. And then while they're there, he and Riggs tells him flat out, "Buddy, look, if you want to get your daughter back, you got to do it my way. You got to shoot and don't miss, Danny Glover." And they're hearing this beautiful scene, and they're mad because they're seeing red. Literally, the Christmas tree is illuminating their faces, and they're draped in red light, bathed in red light even.
You know they're gonna kill her, don't you?
Yes.
And if you want her back, you're gonna have to take her away from them.
I know.
Right. We do this my way. You shoot to kill. You get as many as you can. All you gotta do is just not miss.
I won't miss.
We're gonna get bloody on this one, Roger.
Art.
The art, baby. Richard Donner did the thing. But while they're discussing it and talking about how they're going to shoot and not miss, the bad guys calls and say, "Hey, yeah, we got your kid. You can pick him up in the middle of the desert anytime. Y'all feel like coming out there. We'll be there. Come out there, and we need to make a trade. You need to tell us what you know. All the, you know how kidnapping mission goes. Yeah.
Yeah. So Murtaugh, of course, shows up in the desert to pick up his daughter. Hopefully, he hopes to get her. He brought a grenade
to a gunfight.
Yes, he brought a grenade. They want to do a swap. He's like, no, and they shoot him in the shoulder.
I ain't Jeezy. I don't swap him out. Go
okay.
Ahead. I apologize.
So yeah, he gets shot in the shoulder. Riggs ends up killing one of the drug dealers, but he is caught.
Oh, did you tell him that he was back there doing sniper stuff? That's what.
Riggs was back there.
Since everybody assumed him dead, forces. And he's a special forces sniper.
So he's looking over.
Mm-hmm.
So Murtaugh does surrender. His daughter is now in the driver's seat of this. Was it a stretch limo?
A Lincoln Town car. Stretch Lincoln Town car.
Yeah, it was a limo. And helicopters are involved again. She's
Another
driving.
helicopter. I think it's the same helicopter. Gary Busey's not in there this time.
No.
He's still outside yelling about something.
He was in the desert. But she's driving the car, and while she's driving, she's being chased by a helicopter. So these people have plenty of helicopters at their disposal.
Yeah. I mean, that's what heroin money gets you.
Yes.
They make the after they get the helicopter adventure. They take Murtaugh. They take the Murtaugh clan as well as Riggs. The kidnappers don't really have a plan, it seems. But what they do know is that these guys know something. So we're going to take them back and we're going to do something strange to them. And I do mean that because the very next scene after this, we see a shirtless Mel Gibson strung up with water dripping all over himself. And we don't know what's happening. And if you're into that sort of thing, hey, it's happening right in front of your eyes. And then a little Asian man comes in. His name is Endo. And then Gary Busey comes in. He says, this is Endo. He's about to shock you on your nipples, man. And that's exactly what happens.
Hit him again!
He doesn't say why he's doing this. Just, that's what he's into. And he said, you're going to tell me what you know. And I'm sure he could have got that information out of him any other way. Or if I was a drug dealer, I would have just changed the date and time that I was going to do my drug deal. I don't know. I wouldn't have taken police officers back to my little warehouse and had a man shock him on his nipples. In the second room, Murtaugh is over there being worked over too. He's just getting punched. He has a shirt on, if you were wondering. His daughter is brought in, and I guess they're about to do some torture on her too, but they're interrupted by who? Shirtless Mel Gibson, because he has escaped. He has killed Endo with his legs. And I mean, he's like, he strangled him or broke his neck or something with his immensely strong thighs. And he ran out, not grabbing the shirt, made it over to the Murtaughs, did some killing there, bust them out. And then he does get a shirt, if anybody was wondering. And then they make their way through the warehouse, escaping this torture chamber, up through the end of the hallway, and it terminates in a nightclub. For some reason, they have a warehouse. I guess that was a thing.
The club when we were introduced to the general.
Is that the same club?
I'm assuming it was.
I guess so. This is where they do their dirty work.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess that's a thing. I know we keep bringing up Bad Boys. They had their dope operation in a nightclub. Now, I don't know if they had a torture chamber. But it's just is this where it started?
So when you started investigating nightclubs.
I'm not investigating anything. I'm not John P. Law. Look, anyway, they make their way through the club. People are still shooting. They see Joshua, a.k.a. Gary Busey, running out, and they give chase. Gary Busey jumps into a Cutlass Supreme this time. He goes from a helicopter to a Caprice to a Cutlass. I mean, sound fly. Sound like a Rick Ross lyric or something. I don't know. He leaves, but he doesn't get far because Mel Gibson chases him down on foot, running through the city, shirt open at this time. I'm just giving y'all a picture if y'all want to know what was happening. He disables the Cutlass Supreme with machine gun fire. Gary Busey gets another car and he just leaves. And that's essentially it for that section. He escapes. Riggs is, yelling.
We see the general again. If you remember, he was at the club doing the heroin deal at the beginning.
Heroin.
But there's a wreck. Of course, everybody's driving fast, trying to get away. He ends up dying when a grenade explodes.
Another grenade.
Exactly. I don't know why there were grenades in the car.
Can I jump in? Sexy sex solo happens.
Oh, okay.
When the general is leaving the club.
Let's get out of here. Open the door!
Is that the last one?
That is not the last one. We have one more remaining.
All right. So he's dead. If you didn't know, the grenade explodes. Then we have Mr. Joshua. He's still alive. He ends up shooting up Murtaugh's home.
Yeah, Joshua, instead of like, I'm done.
Just let me find.
I'm going to go to an island somewhere. He goes to the Murtaugh's home for whatever reason.
I guess he was really upset about possibly losing, I guess.
I guess so. Right?
And yeah, he shoots up the house. Again, this is like the suburbs. Not saying that there is any place that deserves to be shot at, but he made an effort, I guess I could say, to go find Murtaugh's home. It wasn't like, oh, here's the city.
Correct. Well, he already knew it was because he came. They had got the girl, so they knew where he stayed.
Well, yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
But like you said, instead of just going the other way,
just go to an island somewhere.
But I guess he said they know who I am, so I got to finish this.
Okay.
But yeah, he goes to Murtaugh's home, shoots it up, bang bang.
He shot me down.
Riggs. So you got these two people who are clearly, disturbed, whatever. They, come together. Riggs stops him. Instead of Riggs and Murtaugh just being like, we're going to arrest him.
You're under arrest. Police, that's what they're supposed to do.
Riggs.
Because I don't know where you're listening to this at, but we're in the United States. And from what they say, you're innocent until proven guilty. So even if they assume that it was Gary Busey, it could have been anybody. It could have been Matt Damon. We don't know.
But Riggs decides that he's going to fight him. They're going to engage in
fisticuffs.
Yes.
Hand-to-hand combat.
Hand-to-hand combat. And it ends up being done under the light of a helicopter.
Another helicopter. Another helicopter, man.
And so they fight. It's raining too.
No, it's not raining.
Oh no, the hydrant.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what
they
it
wet
is.
Nonetheless.
Yes. So they're in the grass,
this is
mud, whatever.
This is very, very erotic if you're into that sort of thing. Two men out on the lawn under a nice blue light, just getting it on hand to hand.
I didn't have that thought. But
I didn't say I did. I'm just saying if you were into this sort of thing.
Anyway, they are fighting each other. And in the end, basically, Riggs and Murtaugh, because of course, they both end up shooting Mr. Joshua. It's like bang, bang.
Well, you're skipping over the climax here. You have to explain to the people what was going on. Besides the eroticism. They're fighting. Boom, trading blows. They're getting the best of each other. And he knocks Riggs down, and then he grabs a street pole or something, like a light pole. I'm not sure what it was. It's a large pole, and he starts to beat him over the back with it. And instead of like helping that fellow officer by getting the guy that's doing this, because they shouldn't be doing this anyway, because you're a police officer. You're not supposed to just fight the suspect.
Apprehended him.
They throw him a billy club. They throw Riggs the billy club so he can protect himself against the light pole or whatever he's been beat with. And then they fight again. And now Gary Busey is about to drown Riggs in a small puddle because a hydrant has exploded. They're fighting in water.
Plenty of water.
And he's about to drown him. And they're like, Riggs, do you want us to help you? And he was like, no. And it's like, we can't listen to him. He's about to be drowned in front of us. But they let him fight it out. And he does eventually get the best of Gary Busey. I don't know his name in the
Mr.
movie.
Joshua.
He gets the best of Joshua. And they're about to arrest him. And then...
Yes, Riggs and Murtaugh shoot him.
Because he has a lapse in judgment. And he says, that's not enough. I'm still going to kill you, Riggs. And he grabs the police officer's service weapon. And both Riggs and Murtaugh point their weapons and explode at the same time. Bam, bam.
Lethal weapons.
That's Lethal Weapon. That's 1987's Lethal Weapon. We have been talking for an hour. I apologize, guys. Before I apologize for that, I apologize for missing out on Sexy Sex Solo number 7. It was when Riggs and Murtaugh were heading over to the Murtaugh residence for the final fight.
On the other side, let Riggs go. Hey, I gotta have a look at this guy. Don't worry about it. All right. There you go.
So,
and that was how many? That was
number 7.
The
final. Yes,
the final.
Yes.
The final countdown. The final.
It's the final countdown.
Okay, so
that's 1987's Lethal Weapon.
Rewatch. Did you still enjoy it?
Of course I did. I'll watch
did you
this
laugh
movie.
more than you did in the
I
past.
laughed at all these solos
because
it was hilarious.
The helicopters, that was repeated. That was just funny to me.
Yes, a helicopter
they found
just kept
a way
showing up.
to bring a helicopter in.
And Gary Busey hanging out the side of a Caprice and a Cutlass is hilarious.
Twice, right?
Yeah, we was at the Caprice first, and then he left in a Cutlass.
So, hey.
Yeah, man. But no, I enjoyed the rewatch. I don't know if I'll definitely watch it again, but I think number 2 was probably the one I watched the most. Mm-hmm. And number 3 is number 3, I was much older when it came out. If I'm not mistaken, that is the first movie I saw at Tinseltown, which is a local movie theater. I want to say that's the first movie I saw there.
I don't remember the first movie we saw.
I have a great memory.
Yeah, you do. We saw a lot of them, though.
Yeah, but so I know I watched them because it had Chris Rock in it. You know, I mean, for y'all who don't know, I'm a Chris Rock or was a Chris Rock fan. I don't know if I'm still a fan. Everybody's being weird these days, so I don't know. But yeah, so I probably saw 2 and 3 more than I saw 1, even though we did watch it a lot, or I remember more. But it was a good rewatch. It was a good movie, to be honest. I mean, for 87 standards, like some of the we were talking about like stuff that didn't need to happen. He was doing the hostage the suicide guy. He was telling him not to jump. Like, it was just to build up his demeanor or whatever. But it wasn't really needed because the movie is about 2 hours. Yeah. Almost 2 hours flat. So some of it could have been cut, but
I always say it could have been shorter. That's always my thing. Like, okay, they just start putting stuff in here.
And I think that's what a lot of it was filler, but it did build Murtaugh's life enough where you felt like, okay, he's the family guy. You know, like I said, this probably isn't the beginning of that trope, but this is one of the most recognizable movies for me where they do that, the buddy cop thing, and you have the two opposing forces or whatever. Yeah. So it was a good movie. I don't think anything offensive was in it besides man butt, but no offensive. I mean, they probably cursed here and there, but the violence was kind of subdued. Didn't have. Yeah, it wasn't a lot of people blew gory, up or whatever. But not gory. I guess is what to say.
Yeah, besides nudity and a few curse words, I guess that. Well, I guess I don't know the 80s. What was considered,
too much.
Yeah, as far as action is concerned. But it was rated R. But I'm assuming it was probably because of that.
Which is crazy now that you say that, to make, what did I say, $120 million on a rated R movie? Ew.
Well, everybody, when did they start making distinctions about who can attend a rated R movie?
I'm assuming it was early on since it was a new thing, but a lot of, at least now, a lot of studios don't opt for R ratings because you don't get, you can't get kids in there. You can't get the family. It's
if you can get the whole family. If you get kids there, you got the whole family.
So it's kind of surprising. I wish I would have did a deep dive on, like how they made this money. I know they made that $7 million in the first weekend, but just what 87 looked like as far as other movies go. But we did the 80s already, so no need to retread, I guess. Good movie, good rewatch. I hope y'all enjoyed the retelling essentially of the entire movie, and
we'll see y'all
and all the sexy sex solos. Watch it and have you some popcorn. You can probably have 2 buckets because it's a 2-hour long movie. It's longer than me talking about it.
It's unnecessary,
but it's good to be back still.
Till next time, y'all.
Till next time, y'all enjoy yourself
and view it again.
Peace out.